Derby fever is running wild. Today, 3 preps that earn the winner a spot in the starting gate on May 1st. Does champion trainer Chad Brown have another Derby contender? Highly motivated, enters the Gotham off a record-setting end to his 2-year-old campaign. Candy Man Rocket passed his first 2-turn test in the Sam F. Davis. Now all eyes are on him as the favorite in the Tampa Bay Derby for Hall of Famer Bill Mott. Meanwhile, no doubt life is good if you're Bob Baffert. His colt by the same name will try to follow in the footsteps of Kentucky Derby winner Authentic and bring Baffert an 8th San Felipe victory. It is all next on America's Day at the Races. It is brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Hello, everybody. I'm Greg Wolf. Great to have you with us on a special Derby prep edition of America's Day at the Races. 3 Derby preps from New York, Florida, and California. The winner of each of these races earns a spot in the starting gates in the Run for the Roses. With me to talk through all of it, New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. And Andy, we have 3 deserving favorites in these Derby preps, but 3 favorites who still have question marks going forward.
No question about it. 3 deserving favorites, but they all face deserving competition. These are preps for the Kentucky Derby, and every horse has to prove themselves in every single prep as we go to the Derby. So some very good horses running today, but they've all got to face some real competition.
We're going to start in New York with the Gotham, but maybe the most hyped horse we're going to see this afternoon is out on the West Coast. That is Life is Good for Bob Baffert. Again, Baffert trying to win an 8th edition of the San Felipe. You see Greatest Honor for Shug McGahee, Mandaloun, Essential Quality near the top of that list. If Life is Good were to win today, he would be at the top of that list, joining Greatest Honor with 60 points.
Oh, you're going to see some changes, no doubt about it, on that list with the 3 50-point races today, and it's nice to be Bob Baffert. You've got Medina Spirit in there as well, and he is a darn good racehorse who was as game as they come in winning his last start in the Robert Lewis. This is an exciting race.
And he was gaining ground on Life is Good when they last met. We'll see if he can do it again. Here's our action coming up this afternoon. It's presented by Claiborne Farm. We'll be at Aqueduct for the Gotham, Tampa Bay for the Tampa Bay Derby, and of course the San Felipe out west in Arcadia, California. Track fast at all 3 racetracks. You can earn a $20 bonus today on 2 Derby preps on the Naira Bets app only. Bet 50 to win on 1 horse in the Gotham and Aqueduct, and then 50 to win on 1 horse in the Tampa Bay Derby at Tampa Bay. Through that Naira Bets app, you'll score a $20 bonus, win or lose. Again, bets must be placed on the Naira Bets app. We're going to head out to Arcadia, California. Gorgeous Saturday afternoon, and it's a rematch of the stablemates for Bob Baffert to come in the San Felipe with more. Let's go to Michelle Yu.
No trainer has won more San Felipes than Bob Baffert, and he's got a heavy hand again this year with undefeated, highly touted Life is Good, as well as the battle-tested Medina Spirit. But I feel like it's not going to be an absolute walk in the park for Life is Good. He's going to have horses coming at him early, in the middle of the race, and coming up late is going to be Roman Centurion, as well as impressive debut maiden winner Dream Shake. This is going to be the acid test on the road to Louisville, guys. Paul?
Thank you, Michelle. And the spotlight here in Oldsmar, Florida will be on Candy Man Rocket, the winner of the Sam F. Davis. And he did it in impressive fashion, considering that was the only time he's been around 2 turns. And Junior Alvarado had him in a perfect position, and he was able to drive past. Now today, it's going to be a little bit of a tougher field, but I think he's got great tactability, and Bill Mott is on site, and there's a packed house here at Tampa Bay Downs.
All right, Michelle, Paulie, thank you very much. First up, our first of 3 Derby preps. Grade 3, Gotham. Again, 50 points to the winner. It's a 1-turn mile here at Aqueduct, and a heavy favorite for Chad Brown, and highly motivated Andy. He's 3 to 5 on the board.
And Chad Brown's looking to win his 3rd stake today. He just won one by a nose at Tampa Bay, and he won earlier in a very exciting busher. But this is the one that really matters, and he's got 2 for the same connections.
Yeah, we'll get to Crowded Trade in a moment. That's the other stablemate. Atlantic Road, though, kicks things off for trainer Todd Pletcher.
It shows you how tough a year it's been for Todd with the 3-year-olds when he's almost 50 to 1 right now in the Gotham.
The Reds coming off a maiden win in the 5th start of his career for John Kimmel.
He cuts back from 9 furlongs to 8 furlongs in this race, 2 turns to 1 turn, but is he fast enough?
Highly motivated. He set a track record in the Nyquist in his last start as a 2-year-old.
He got the fastest Beyer speed figure of any 2-year-old that ran the same day as the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Wipe the slate, trained by Doug O'Neill, blinkers off.
Have to think he'll be forwardly placed coming in from California.
And the stablemate to the heavy favorite, highly motivated. Here's Crowded Trade. He won his debut, getting off to a slow start.
He was very impressive, but he can't get left in a race like this.
Capo Kane, the Jerome winner, he's going to cut back in distance from the Withers.
I think you and I both think he's the wise guy. I thought he ran well in the Withers, but is he as good as some of the best in here?
And the incredibly fast Freedom Fighter shipping from out west for Bob Baffert.
He lost to Concert Toro, maybe the favorite next week's Rebel, a very good Bob Baffert horse. Does he get better or worse, though, with more distance?
And here is Wayburn for Jimmy Jerkins making his 3-year-old debut.
Shows you how strong the field is. This horse is 30-1 because he's been a promising horse in his races. He's okay, but it's a tough, tough spot.
Minute to post in the Grade 3 Gotham with 50 points to the winner to get into that starting gate for the Kentucky Derby. Let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
Yeah, good-looking cast assembled for this Grade 3 Gotham, Greg. So begin with your current favorite. That is number 3, highly motivated, as he's going to look to come back off the bench after an auspicious 2-year-old campaign and try the mile for the first time. I have to say, I was dubious of his chances given the distance, but you can't blame connections. This is the logical place to start him. And I will say, he has done very well from 2 to 3. He's gotten a lot longer. He's filled out. The one slight concern I have with him is obviously the layoff. Remember, he did lose his debut at a short price. It was a tough trip that he pulled that day, only to be run down by his stablemate, but just a little bit on the heavier side to be given his current 3 to 5 odds. His stablemate, however, sitting at 9 to 1, facing winners for the first time is number 5, Crowded Trade. Love the step out to the 8 furlongs today at the 1-turn mile. If anything, he's a little bit more keen. The light bulb has gone off. I don't think we'll see that same slow start that we saw in the debut. This is a good-looking, classy individual that I think it speaks highly of what the connections think of this horse to send him straight on to Graded Stakes Company after that big maiden performance. Number 7, Freedom Fighter, comes in from California for Bob Baffert. I love what I saw from him in the San Vicente. Great mover. I just think he is more of a sprinter. He's quick. He's going to see how far he can take them on the front end. But for me, Greg, I think this is a horse that we look forward to maybe seeing possibly when summer comes around in the Woody Stevens.
Yeah, Maggie, thank you. Bob Baffert has said he's not even thinking Derby yet with Freedom Fighter. This is a horse who just perfectly spotted for this race coming up. He's built for speed, and he is very quick. Let's check in with our Hall of Fame rider, Gary Stevens. And right now, Freedom Fighter, Gary, shipping out from out west here for Baffert. He gave Concert Tour his stablemate all he could handle last time out.
He did. He broke his maiden in August of last year at Del Mar, and he did it impressively. He took a big step forward in the San Vicente. I just want to talk about the history of the San Vicente. It's a 7-furlong race that is used for a prep for other prep races of the Kentucky Derby. I was fortunate enough to ride a Kentucky Derby in Silver Charm winner after he ran in the San Vicente. It's a bodybuilder for these horses, and Concert Tour, a very highly respected horse of Bob Baffert's. I like that horse a lot. And he took him a long time to cry uncle before he folded at the end of the race. We'll see what he's made of today, Greg.
All right, Gary, thanks. You know, Baffert, Andy, has said this is a horse, Freedom Fighter, you really can't take a hold of. He's just going to go. So he's hoping he doesn't get pressured too much early on.
Yeah, you have to imagine Wipe the Slate's going to go, but I also think Dylan Davis is going to come out forward with Capo Kane because he is an aggressive horse. Now, he's not as fast as Freedom Fighter, but I think that Dylan will make sure the pace is fast enough, and we'll see how aggressive Kendrick Carmouche is with Wipe the Slate with the blinkers off because he's quick. As far as highly motivated, he's a very, very talented horse. He's also shown that he's a horse that can run inside of horses. He took dirt last time at Keeneland. He came inside of horses when he broke his maiden. So he's inside of those horses. They'll look to get position behind them. But I think Javier Castellano can be patient with him and wait for a hole because if he's a horse that has to move inside or between horses, he's shown the ability to do that.
Maggie mentioned went to the bench for a little bit. Chad Brown said the horse came out of that race in the Nyquist a little bit body sore. But as we were talking about off air, this was sort of the plan anyway to come back in this spot, right?
Oh, Chad Brown told me it could even be before January. I am pointing this horse to Gotham. That's the race I'm going to come back in. They want to see a good effort from. Obviously, you want to win, but it's also important. Let's say Bob Baffert's horse runs a hole in the wind and runs a big race. Second is no embarrassment, and in all likelihood, if they're going to forge ahead towards the Derby, they'll go to Keeneland because they've already got risk-taking the same connections for the Wood Memorial. They won at Keeneland, so you go there, possibly taking on Essential Quality. It's an exciting time for all of these horses. I want to quickly mention the time. The times have been slow today. Any time under 1:39 in this race is a very fast race.
There's Highly Motivated in those Klarovich stable silks, moving in line. The stablemate, Crowded Trade, for the same connections. The 5, making just the second start of his career off a brilliant debut. It's the Grade 3 Gotham from Aqueduct. John Imbrial with the call.
Wayburn moves in. We're set for the start. And Wayburn is now in, and we're set to go. And they're off. From the outside, it is Freedom Fighter who flashes his speed and quickly opens up by 2 lengths here. Capo Cane's running in second. Wayburn's on the outside in third. And Crowded Trade is next in fourth. Wipe the Slate, moving up in between horses down towards the rail. Steadying there was Highly Motivated. Highly Motivated had to steady as the field crossed over from the chute to the main track. And it is Freedom Fighter with the lead here over Wayburn through a quarter in 24 and 1/5 seconds. Then it's the trio of a Crowded Trade. Capo Cane, Wipe the Slate is down at the rail. Highly Motivated is running in 6th. On the outside, the Reds is next in 7th. And Atlantic Road is in 8th. Freedom Fighter leads here by 3/4 of a length. Long shot, Wayburn on the outside runs in second, and the opening half was run in 48 seconds, and Freedom Fighter is in front here by a half length. Wayburn is in second. It's a length and a half to Crowded Trade. Wipe the Slate is dropping back. Capo Cane is down towards the rail, then Highly Motivated and the Reds. Freedom Fighter is the leader as they come for the top of the stretch. Wayburn runs in second. Crowded Trade up on the outside in third. Capo Cane is fourth. And then Highly Motivated in fifth. 3/4 went in 1, 12 and 4. And here comes Crowded Trade on the outside. Now to grab the lead. Wayburn continues to battle on. Down at the rail is Freedom Fighter in third. Highly Motivated is in fourth. It is Crowded Trade. And on the inside it is Wayburn. Crowded Trade. Wayburn continues to battle on as they come for the finish in the Gotham. Wayburn and Crowded Trade. Oh, it's a bang finish. Was it Wayburn on the inside or Crowded Trade on the outside? A terrific duel in the Gotham.
It looks like it might have been Wayburn on the inside, and if it was, that is a 46-1 upset.
Well, he was able to sit on top of a very moderate pace that was set by the number 7. There was some trouble for Highly Motivated early, and Crowded Trade ran very well. And it does look, yeah, Wayburn definitely, I think, won this. It's hard, it's close. Yeah, Wayburn got the win in here. Wayburn ran very gamely and take nothing away from him. He used his speed in a very good ride in this race from Trevor McCarthy, who's ridden exceptionally well. He saw the 4 wasn't going. He saw nobody was going with this horse, and he said, well, if no one's going to go, I'm going to go. I think there was an excellent effort by Crowded Trade, who looked like he was home free in this race. He hung in the late stages. He broke a little better than last time, but he broke badly, and a good ride on him. Eric Hansel getting him in the race, but a heartbreaking defeat for him. And Highly Motivated lost, but he ran a winning race. And that final time, a 138.7, is very, very fast on this time. It's the kind of race that'll get a buyer speed figure in the mid to high 90s.
Wayburn, his last start was his maiden win. He missed the Jerome with illness. He missed the Jimmy Winkfield with a foot bruise. Winds up here instead, plan C in the Gotham, and he upsets the field at 46-1, we believe. Still waiting on this photo, but Gary Stevens, as tight a finish as you could hope for in here. And as for Crowded Trade, he runs huge in defeat, but it looks like Wayburn gets the money.
Crowded Trade did run great in defeat, and Highly Motivated, I think you can make a huge excuse for him. The trouble he had coming out of the chute. He's going to move forward off of this race. He was traveling well at the end of the race. And in these types of races and these Derby prep races, any sort of trouble, you're going to be out the back door. Don't throw him away. But Wayburn, wow. Trevor McCarthy, great ride. I'm not sure who got up. Evidently he did, because the cameraman's showing him, and the cameraman's never wrong, Greg.
Yeah, Gary, thanks. Just posted, it was Weyburn, 46-1, 2 wins today for Trevor McCarthy. So 8-5-3 finish, but both these Chad Brown runners, Andy, they both look very good, even though they didn't win the race.
No, they did. I mean, Highly Motivated probably ran the best race. Let's face it. It was a very moderate pace, and he had nothing but trouble getting steadied early, had to make that move and come around. He's the one, obviously, you want going forward from this race. But Crowded Trade lightly raced, Weyburn lightly raced, and I love seeing Trevor McCarthy get this win because he had a great winter here, and this was a race that he won by being decisive early and realizing the pace was slow. No excuse for Freedom Fighter. He can't get a mile.
Never an easy spot to be down, buried on the inside, neck and neck with another horse. But Weyburn able to cross the wire first and get that nose down for the win, and this was his first start since early December as well. To do this off the bench, impressive for the 3-year-old son of Pioneer of the Nile. Holding off Crowded Trade, it was that close in the end. What an upset. Well, we said a lot to prove in these Triple Crown races, and as we witness here, there's always surprises.
And Jimmy Jerkins, the trainer of Weyburn, wasn't even sure he was going to run in here, but he figured to take a shot. And the race really was run in a good manner for him because he's a horse with stamina with a high cruising speed. So he was able to control on the outside, and even though he was outside as a long shot to a short-priced horse, Weyburn had much more stamina than that one. And he just continued to roll. Crowded Trade, he had no major excuse, breaking a little slowly. He ran very well for a second-time starter, and Highly Motivated, terrific coming off the layoff with a troubled trip.
Our first of 3 Kentucky Derby prep races, and if this is the way we start things off, wow, what do we have still to come? Odds-on favorite for Chad Brown, defeated in his 3-year-old debut. It's Weyburn for Jimmy Jerkins as we have FS2 joining us right now. Welcome to America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Great to have you with us. Our program brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net. Today, a live look there at South Ozone Park here at the Big A. We just had the running of the Gotham. We still have the San Felipe and the Tampa Bay Derby to come. Great to have you all with us. I'm Greg Wolf. I'll be joined by Andy Serling and company here in just a moment. First, we want to show you what happened just moments ago in the Grade 3 Gotham. Winner of this race earns a starting spot in the Kentucky Derby.
That's it. Lay it at 260 or 270.
And the rough. From the outside, it is Freedom Fighter who flashes his speed and quickly opens up by 2 lengths here. Capo Cane's running in second. Weyburn's on the outside in third. And Crowded Trade is next in fourth. Wipe the slate. Moving up in between horses down towards the rail. Steadying there was Highly Motivated. Highly Motivated had to steady as the field crossed over from the chute to the main track. And it is Freedom Fighter with the lead here over Weyburn through a quarter in 24 and 1/5 seconds. Then it's the trio of a Crowded Trade. Capo Cane, Wipe the Slate is down at the rail. Highly Motivated is running in 6th. On the outside, the Reds is next in 7th, and Atlantic Road is in 8th. Freedom Fighter leads here by 3/4 of a length. Long shot, Weyburn on the outside runs in second, and the opening half was run in 48 seconds, and Freedom Fighter is in front here by a half length. Weyburn is in second. It's a length and a half to Crowded Trade. Wipe the Slate is dropping back. Capo Cane is down towards the rail. Then Highly Motivated and the Reds. Freedom Fighter is the leader as they come for the top of the stretch. Weyburn runs in second. Crowded Trade up on the outside in third. Capo Cane is fourth. And then Highly Motivated in fifth. 3/4 went in 1, 12 and 4. And here comes Crowded Trade on the outside. Now to grab the lead. Weyburn continues to battle on. Down at the rail is Freedom Fighter in third. Highly Motivated is in fourth. It is Crowded Trade. And on the inside it is Weyburn. Crowded Trade. Weyburn continues to battle on as they come for the finish in the Gotham. Weyburn and Crowded Trade. Oh, it's a bang-bang finish. Was it Weyburn on the inside or Crowded Trade on the outside?
Photo finish in the Gotham, and it's Weyburn who battles back from the inside for the win at 46-1.
Excellent ride by Trevor McCarthy, getting the money here. He put Wayburn into the race when he realized the pace was slow, and the number 4 horse, the other California runner, showed no speed. The pace was very slow. An excellent ride by Eric Cancel on the runner-up. A tough beat for him. He got him in the game after breaking slowly, and highly motivated when you consider the steady at the start, after the start, early in the race, after breaking slowly. He may have run the best race of all of them. Excellent performances by all of the top 3.
Yeah, Crowded Trade, highly motivated. For those just joining us, both in the same barn for champion trainer Chad Brown. They both had problems in this race, so considering that, they both ran huge efforts. But in the end, a horse that not many thought had a chance gets the win here.
Yeah, and credit Jimmy Jerkins for taking a shot and running him in here, and credit Trevor McCarthy for being alert and realizing the pace was slow. Excellent performances, and the reality is with highly motivated and even Crowded Trade, yeah, you want to win. But you want to see them get something out of it, and I don't think there's any reason from this race that both of them shouldn't move forward into bigger races, and I won't be surprised when Highly Motivated is taking on the champ, Essential Quality, in the Bluegrass in just over a month.
Yeah, 8 weeks to the Derby, so still time certainly for these two to get another meaningful prep in and earn their way to the Kentucky Derby. Let's head to Tampa Bay, Oldsmar, Florida. Grade 2 Tampa Bay Derby coming up, and no doubt it's Candyman Rocket. He's the deserving favorite, winner of the Sam F. Davis, in which he went 2 turns for the very first time. He's 8-5 on the board right now for Hall of Fame trainer Bill Mott. Junior Alvarado will be back in the irons, and this is a full field. Let's bring in Hall of Fame rider Gary Stevens. And Gary, what does it mean for Candyman Rocket in terms of positioning in a full field like this to be drawn inside?
Well, we just saw it in the Gotham just now. What can happen to a heavy favorite who may have been best in the race if you get in trouble early and you get caught behind some horses that may not belong in a race of this type? Hey, look, everybody gets to take their starting positions in these type of races, but when you've got a horse that's tactical like Candyman Rocket, he breaks quick. It takes a big load of pressure off of a jockey's mind. You can be very tactical early on, be forwardly placed. You don't have to worry about weaving your way in and out. If you don't have speed in these big races, you are at the mercy of the horses and riders in front of you. Mistakes are made by other riders. Horses are just not fast enough. And if you don't have somewhere to go early on, well, it can be a long afternoon for you, as we just saw.
Gary, thanks. Here's our post parade. We start with Long Shot, My Liberty, and there's some speed inside here.
Yeah, this horse would be a big upsetter here. Broke his maiden going shorter last time out.
89-1 on the board. Son of Tapazar should be showing speed from that inside position. Here's probably the X factor of the race. Horse won his debut in Puerto Rico. Now he's running for Safi Joseph here in the States.
He's a total unknown for a trainer who does win a lot of races. Not the kind I would play, but hey, Bold Forbes started out in Puerto Rico, and he won the Kentucky Derby 45 years ago.
Here's the favorite for Bill Mott, Candyman Rocket. He won the Sam F. Davis.
I thought he ran very well in Victory last time out. And this is a horse that's lightly raced for a good barn. He's way the horse to beat.
Same connections who won this race last year with King Guillermo at 49-1. Send out King of Dreams.
The problem is he's already run the dirt. Now, that was on Cigar Mile Day, and he actually lost to Wayborn.
Look at that, who just won at 46-1. Boca Boy, the only Florida bred in this field. Very quick. Connections say, though, he does not have to be on the lead.
Well, he may have some company in here because the 11 on the outside for Chad Pletcher, Promise Keeper, figures to go, and this pace could be hot.
Safi Joseph also sends out Awesome Jerry. Blinkers come off.
He ran well enough back to win this race. He ran horrendously last time in the Holy Bull. Can he bounce back?
Back-to-back wins for Moonlight Strike, and then he struggled in the Smarty Jones at Oaklawn.
Another for Safi Joseph, who appears to have half the field in this race. What does he think he is, Todd Pletcher?
5-2 on Hidden Stash. Wow, he is taking money right now for Victoria Oliver. He was in that Sam F. Davis, making up a lot of ground late.
He did, but he also ran on a rail that wasn't the place to be for much of the race. We'll see if the switch back to Rafael Bejarano, who won twice on him, makes a difference.
Todd Pletcher, he's won this race 5 times in the past. He'll send out a pair of runners. Here's the first of them at 18-1. Unbridled Honor.
Yeah, he ran a reasonably fast race when breaking his maiden actually on Sam Davis Day. Can he take another step forward?
Helium, he's going to get on dirt for the first time for trainer Mark Casse. He's undefeated.
Yeah, I don't like Helium, though he's a big price if you like him, even though he's undefeated. His pedigree says turf and synthetic. His pedigree is not strong for dirt.
The other Todd Pletcher runner, he got onto a sloppy racetrack, stretched out a one-turn mile Gulf Stream, and he ran big.
Todd Pletcher must have been thrilled when he saw the rain forecast for today. Less thrilled when it never came.
Sitting on go. We were happy, though. 21-1 on the outside runner.
Yeah, so was Paul LaDuca. I don't know what to say about this horse for Dale Romans. He looked like a good horse, and he fell apart. To be honest with you, he should have been in the Gotham at one turn, if you ask me. I don't think he wants these 2-turn races, and good luck from that post.
Minute to post in the Grade 2 Tampa Bay Derby. Can Candyman Rocket back up that win in the Sam F. Davis? For more, let's go to Paul LaDuca.
Thanks, guys. And, you know, Andy, you hit the nail right on the head. When we were coming here to the racetrack today, I thought they were going to take the races at least early off the turf, and it really just drizzled, and it actually has sped up the main track here. They're actually been running fast fractions, 109, 110 to the six furlong marks, and horses have been going on with it. And I think the reason why Hidden Stash is getting played in here, because Andy mentioned it, there is a lot of speed in here, but I do think Candyman Rocket can lay off the pace. Listen, this is a horse that showed a new dimension last time. If you think about it, first time going against around 2 turns, I get it, was up on the pace, but was able to stalk a little bit. Today, I think Candyman Rocket might be 5th, 6th, 7th, somewhere in that position, but still close up, maybe bunched up, and we'll see what happens from there. Of some of the outsiders that you go to, and I think that's why Hidden Stash is getting played. I think the public is looking at this race going, there's a ton of speed. Here's a horse that made up some ground. But again, I'm agreeing with Andy Serling. This is a trend. I thought this horse had a good trip last time. Was on the rail most of the way and sort of sucked up a good third. I'm not taking anything away from Hidden Stash. The horse that's getting played is the 11. And obviously it's Todd Pletcher. He's had 5 winners in the Sam F. Davis, in the Tampa Bay Derby. So he is going to get respect with Luis Saez. They're going to be on the send. But I think Bill Mott has got this field over a barrel, and so does Junior Alvarado. He's going to look for his 3rd win in the Tampa Bay Derby, Bill Mott. Last one being 2019 with Tacitus.
Paulie, thanks. Yeah, the 6-5 favorite, Candyman Rocket. We'll see. He was a little sluggish that final 16th of a mile in the Sam F. Davis, although he did grind it out to victory. Let's bring in our moneymaker, Jonathan Kinchin. JK, there's a look at one of the Pletcher runners, Promise Keeper, down to 4-1 on the board right now.
Yeah, Promise Keeper's interesting because his big performance came on a sloppy racetrack, and I'm sure, like Andy mentioned, Todd was hoping that it was going to rain there today to take away all questions about how this horse would run. But here's the thing. Typically, when these types of horses run big on a sloppy racetrack, they get bet down to favoritism. This horse isn't going to be the favorite because he's in here with Candyman Rocket, who won the prep race leading up to this. So I still think there's a little bit of value still left on this horse if he happens to like a dry racetrack. I see no reason why he wouldn't like a dry racetrack. I love his outside draw as a tactical horse. Historically, the inside is not where you want to be at Tampa Bay, and I think that Promise Keeper is in the right spot today in the Tampa Bay Derby.
Jonathan, thanks. We say it all the time. Watch the board as well. On the board right now telling you Promise Keeper could be live. 8-1 morning line. He's 4-1 on the board right now. Both Andy, Paul, they've talked a lot about the 8 Hidden Stash with more on this Son of Constitution. Let's go to Gary Stevens.
Yeah, guys, when Paul was giving his rundown on the race, watching the warm-up, and Rafael Bejarano was warming up Hidden Stash by himself. What happened, he got away from him, and when we say got away from him, he came out of control. This warm-up, you're going to see Hidden Stash pick up pace here, and he's actually out of control. He can't stop him. Hidden Stash throwing his head up. Maybe this is a good thing. To me, it's a bad thing. The outrider actually has to pull him up. Rafael did a heck of a job. He didn't panic. He just waited till the outrider could pull him up. But a little more warm-up than I would have liked to have seen there. It's either going to be good or really bad, guys.
Well, it's expended energy that, in essence, is wasted energy before the running of the race, Andy.
Yeah, it's not something that I could comment on positively or negatively. I will respect people who have more experience than me on that. I do want to say one thing about his last race. If you just watch his last race, your initial inclination would be, say, had a perfect trip. He saved ground. He angled out in the stretch. He didn't change leads. That concerns me. And he didn't finish the deal. But I don't agree with that assessment because the rail was bad last week at the last race, at Tampa Bay 4 weeks ago. And I think he was hurt by being inside for too long. So a race that may appear to be a perfect trip, if you watch it, if you think like I do the rail was bad, he was compromised. Still, he's got to improve. And my guess is that Gary's, we don't know. I've never seen him before. Maybe he's a horse that does this all the time.
Meanwhile, with the favorite at 7-5 here, Candyman Rocket, Junior Alvarado said he doesn't have a real quick turn of foot. He was sort of sluggish that final 16th of a mile, and the horses were getting to him late. Does that concern you with him?
Well, the thing is that what's the competition, right? He was making his third start. He was going a mile and a 16th after breaking his maiden at 6 furlongs in his prior race. So it's not surprising he got a little late. Now he's got another race under his belt. So presumably, he also has one of the all-time greatest trainers in Bill Mott. He's supposed to be more professional today. He's supposed to be a stronger horse. The distance is supposed to be less of a problem for him. Because keep in mind, this is not a stretch out. It's the same distance as Sam Davis. So I think he's very effective. He showed he could rate last time. I don't see a chink in his armor. And the other thing is, Greg, let's be honest. Is his competition really that strong here?
Yeah, as you look at this board, there's only 3 horses, Andy, in this 12-horse group that are single-digit odds.
Well, it really looks like that on paper. It's one of these races where you either feel like he's the horse to beat or it's a bit of a crapshoot. I think Todd Pletcher's horse is taking too much money, Promise Keeper. Not that he can't win, but I think he's overbet. Hidden Stash, to me, he's about the right price. After that, they all look like long shots on paper, right?
They all have something to prove to see if they deserve to stay on this Triple Crown trail outside of Candyman Rocket.
But we just saw Wayburn win at 46-1, and we saw King Guillermo win this race at a huge price last year. So we do see upsets. We've seen a lot of favorites succeed in these Triple Crown preps, but it doesn't always happen.
King Guillermo, of course, at the big cap later on this afternoon out west at Santa Anita. It's Candyman Rocket, the Sam F. Davis winner, trying to go back-to-back in Derby preps. Here in the Tampa Bay Derby, Richard Grunder with the call from Oldsmar, Florida.
Sitting on go, and Rafael Bejarano will complete the lineup. He's now in, and they're at the post. And they're off and running to the 41st running of the Tampa Bay Derby. Boca Boy is away quickly and gunning right to the early lead. King of Dreams is along the rail now second. Up on the outside, Moonlight Strike now goes to the turn, 3 wide now, racing along third. And the early trailer is sitting on go as they sort themselves out around the clubhouse turn. And that's Boca Boy, as expected, now moving up and now going to the lead. Along the rail, King of Dreams is racing second, Moonlight Strike. Up on the outside now third. Then it's a length and a half farther back to the inside. My Liberty now races along fourth. Up on the outside, that's Awesome Jerry now fifth. From between horses, Promise Keeper sixth. Then it's 1 length farther back to Candyman Rocket at this point, racing along seventh. He's about 6 lengths off the pace setters and 2 lengths clear of the Puerto Rico Invader. Along the rail, Super Strong. Up on the outside, the late running Hidden Stash now moves up a bit closer with a half mile to run in the Lamb Home South. Tampa Bay Derby, it's Boca Boy trying to take them start to finish. Moonlight Strike is there racing second. Up on the outside, that's Promise Keeper now racing along third. From the far outside, Candyman Rocket is now underway fourth. There goes Helium. 4 wide and now charging fifth. King of Dreams under an all-out ride. And now Hidden Stash. Bejarano gives him the wake-up call, and he is responding. Weaving through from between horses will need racing room, but meanwhile up front, Helium now strikes to the lead. Along the rail, that's Candyman Rocket racing along second. Way out on the outside, Hidden Stash is absolutely in full stride. Down to the wire, it's Hidden Stash and Rafael Bejarano along the rail. Digging back gamely is Helium. Looks like we're down to 2. Helium repels the challenge. It's Helium in a huge effort. Turns away the challenge of Hidden Stash. Finishing third was Moonlight Strike, and fourth was Unbridled Honor in 1:43.55 in the Tampa Bay Derby.
Hidden Stash looked like he was poised to roll right on by, but Helium digs in, game to the wire in his dirt debut. A winning one. He remains undefeated.
Right. We saw another long shot. Mark Casse took a shot. He's taken a lot of shots in the Triple Crown Trail. Certainly worked out with War of Will a couple of years ago. And Helium, who really had a pedigree saying he wanted turf, well, he handled the dirt with aplomb today. And the Claiborne Stallion Ironicus on the Derby Trail with Helium.
Yeah, how about that? Helium, dirt debut, and his 3-year-old debut, Gary Stevens, a winning one.
Yeah, one thing about Mark Casse, that's how he's got part of how he has gotten to is taking chances like this. He's not afraid. He realizes talent when he sees it. And huge run from him today. Helium, Jose Ferrer aboard. And you know what? Hidden Stash, I guess that was good for him, that little pre-race race that he had. But Candyman Rocket, he didn't break well, but I had really no excuse for him. He was a little bit wide. He had every opportunity. These two horses were the best today, Greg.
15-1 on Helium, and yet Candyman Rocket, he was a no-show.
He really was, and he moved with Helium around the turn. So as Gary said, a little bit of trouble, but it's one thing to have a little trouble and run as well as highly motivated.
Another Derby prep on the way from out west. Life is Good. He was too good in the Sham against his stablemate Medina Spirit, who gets another crack at him coming up for Bob Baffert.
Deep in the heart of horse country, from these Kentucky hills has sprung a legacy rivaled by few. From the all-time greats of yesterday to the breed-shaping bloodlines of today, our roots hold strong with the promise of tomorrow. For over a century, our passion has guided us to where we stand and everything we stand for. Claiborne Farm, the tradition continues.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
What a star Improbable has turned into, as he is going to romp in the awesome again.
It's Improbable and Iran Ortiz Jr. to win the Whitney.
It is a complete runaway for Improbable.
Johnny Brielle with a nightcap here from Aqueduct. Here we go.
And they're off. Towards the inside, it is a Cool Boy who is away well for the lead. Quintarelli is right there as they move up the backstretch. And there goes the Big S now. The Big S pokes ahead in front. Cool Boy, Quintarelli, number 1, Dylan the Gray, is racing in 4th. Competitive Hero on the outside in 5th. Imperio D is alongside in 6th. And a break of almost 2 lengths to Blues City. Brighthorn down at the rail is Trapeze Artist in 9th. The quarter, sharp 22 and 4/5 seconds. It's Cool Boy and Quintarelli with the Big S sitting just off them in 3rd. Imperio D is down at the rail. Number 1, Dylan, is on the outside. Then a break of 2 to Trapeze Artist, who has come on through now to take 6th. Blue City is alongside in 7th. Then Brighthorn, Competitive Hero, has dropped out of it. The half was running 47 and 3, and here is the Big S now to take over the lead as they move down for the 8th pole. Imperio D down towards the rail. Here's Imperio D now to take the lead from the Big S. Imperio D in front and drawing clear. It is Imperio D to win the finale here. Imperio D won by 4.5 lengths. The Big S was 2nd, and it looked like Trapeze Artist came on for 3rd.
We made it back just in time for the nightcap here at Aqueduct. Imperio D, Manny Franco, Rudy Rodriguez, and this 4-year-old gelding by Frost Giant gets a 2nd win of his career.
I know this was a lower level claiming race, but Greg, this was a heck of a ride by Manny Franco. And this was one of those ones where you knew the 4 was the favorite, but you knew he was in a little trouble because that pace was very hot. And boy, Manny Franco just sat in the garden spot splitting horses and gave this horse a perfect ride. I think it shows you these riders, they'll ride a stakes race and a claiming race exactly the same. It's not like they throw these races away. This was a great ride by Manny.
They all matter. 6-1 on your winner. Meanwhile, back at Oldsmar, Florida, Grade 2 Tampa Bay Derby. Helium, he had never run over a dirt track in the afternoon. This was his 3-year-old debut as well, and he fights for it here.
This was impressive. It's interesting. If you look at our 2 preps so far, there are real similarities, right? Because it felt like Hidden Stash was going by, and it looked like he had it won. I think as soon as Richard Grunner, the announcer, and we all do this, I said your Crowd Trade was going to win, and Wayburn came back, and he was confident, and it was hard not to be. But Helium dug down on the inside, and listen, Mark Cassidy took a shot, and a big win for Ironicus as well, the stallion, to have a horse in the Triple Crown Trail, because he was a very good turf horse. But to show that his horses can run well on all surfaces, that's a big boost to a horse like Ironicus.
Yeah, congrats to Claiborne Farm. We head out west to Santa Anita, Grade 2 San Felipe, and maybe one of the most hyped horses on the Triple Crown Trail right here. Life is Good. He's undefeated for Bob Baffert after winning the Grade 3 Sham.
This is obviously a very, very talented horse. I think a lot of people question whether or not he's going to get better with distance.
Dream Shake, he ran huge in his debut. This is start number 2.
It was supposed to be the coming out party for another bad Baffert horse, Bezos, but he ran like Bezos was supposed to run. Can't wait to see what he does stepping up.
Medina Spirit, stablemate of Life is Good, and he was gaining ground on Life is Good in that Sham. He'd come back to win the Bob Lewis.
His last race was my kind of race. I mean, he fought off all the challengers. This is a very good horse and a very big rival to his stablemate.
46-1. We had a 46-1 winner in the Gotham. None above the law.
He may not be above the law, but he's above his head.
Coming out of a state-bred, cow-bred race last time out when he was a runner-up. The Great One, he ran like Gretzky played in his maiden win last start.
And I'll tell you something, his nose loss to Spielberg 2-back, Greg, looks a lot better after Spielberg's excellent effort in last week's Southwest.
Governor's Party, 99-1 on the son of Governor Charlie.
His dirt efforts make 99-1 an underlay.
And Roman Centurion, he chased Medina Spirit in that Bob Lewis last out. He missed by a neck.
What was his excuse, though? He got such a fast pace to run at. If he couldn't beat Medina Spirit last time, good luck to him doing it today.
He is double-digit odds, $550,000 son of Empire Maker, but all eyes in this race on this colt right here, son of Into Mischief for Bob Baffert, has won this race 7 times before. Not only is he supremely talented, but he's been working up a storm in the morning.
I would have bet Bob's won this race more than 7 times. He's one of the favorites on the Derby Trail right now, but he's facing a serious test.
With more on the San Felipe, let's go to Michelle Yu.
Thanks so much, Greg. Down here watching the horses warm up. Obviously, everyone wants to talk about Life is Good. He's undefeated. He has lived up to all of the hype that was surrounding him before he even went postward for the very first time. The key to him today really is he going to be able to be as battle-tested as some of these?
We apologize, some audio issues there with Michelle. We'll see if we can get back to her before the gates open for this race. But obviously, Life is Good. From the moment before he even started on the racetrack, the word was out about his talent.
No question about it. He's been a gigantic favorite. I mean, to see him 20 cents the dollar in both his starts. But, Greg, I say he's a little over bet right now at 2-5. This is a serious test.
And the issue with him is that he runs off because he is so supremely quick early on. Can they get him to shut off and relax a little bit?
And from the inside post, he's probably going to be on the engine the whole way.
Jonathan Kinchin, your thoughts here on the San Felipe?
Yeah, look, I think Life is Good is the most talented horse in Bob Baffert's barn, looking to be his Derby kind of front runner here. I think a lot of the questions is what happened in the last race with Life is Good. Was he getting tired? Was the distance too much? Or was he bored because he wasn't really asked to do very much? He was in control the entire time, and Hall of Famer Mike Smith just kind of let him gallop toward in the stretch, and I think he started kind of getting a little bit goofy. I think Mike Smith learned a lot about the horse Life is Good, and I think Bob Baffert learned a lot about what they need to do to train him. My friend Jay Privman at the DRF had a nice quote that Mike Smith said about Life is Good. His balance is that of an extreme athlete. If he was an NBA player, he'd have a crossover that would break break your ankles like Allen Iverson. He moves incredible. I think this horse is talented, and I think if he wins impressively today, he could compete for favoritism against Essential Quality. Gary?
Yeah, Jonathan, I watched this colt work last week, and one thing about Bob Baffert, he normally works his 3-year-olds in company, not just the 3-year-olds, all of his horses. He sent this horse out by himself, and he didn't need a workmate. And what I saw was spectacular. It shows a half mile, or 5/8 of a mile and 59 and change. The horse actually went out a mile. I didn't have a clock on him, but I can guarantee you it was under 1 minute and 39 seconds. It was something else to watch. He's an athlete. I think he's going to have some pressure early on. It's not going to be a work by himself. He's got some other horses out there today, and he's going to have to get it done and prove himself today.
Inside post with Mike Smith. We know how quick he is. Can he try and shut it down and reserve some of that speed as he goes further than he ever has in the past? Let's go back to Michelle.
Thanks, Greg. Hopefully audio is going to be all taken care of here. As far as Life is Good goes, that's the one thing I think is going against him, right? They have been working with him in the mornings to try to get him to relax. He was a little bit more relaxed walking over here in the paddock, but because he works by himself, to be relaxed, he doesn't really have that battle testing. Look at Medina Spirit. When he works in company, he is throwing down late. He is coming up the rail. He was going around horses. You saw that in the Bob Lewis, how tenacious he can be. Life is Good has never had another horse just hang out with him, look him in the eye, and fight him. I don't know how that is going to work out for him if he has horses coming at him early, like the Great One, if he's got horses like his stablemate coming up to him on the outside in the middle of the race, and if he has horses like Dream Shake and Roman Centurion pouring at him late. Can he turn away all those chargers? If he can, he is better than I think all of us are even thinking he is right now.
Michelle, thank you. This begins as well, Rainbow Six jackpot, and an additional $3.5 million bet into that pool, of which there's over 600,000 carried over. It begins here with the San Felipe, so there is Life is Good. And, you know, you look at that stretch run, Andy, of the Sham, Medina Spirit making all that ground on him late, but it didn't seem like Mike Smith seemed too worried. He wasn't working too hard on him late.
I'm not going to disagree with that. And listen, it was also just his second start, and he ran a 101 buyer. I don't know if any other horse in the Triple Crown Trail have run triple-digit buyers yet. It's a few points faster than Essential Quality's done, and I don't disagree with the notion that a big performance by him, and then obviously the Santa Anita Derby, and we've still got big race to go. He could be the favorite over Essential Quality, and the favorite in the Derby, 3-1, right? American Pharoah paid $740. The favorite in the Derby isn't 6-5 too often.
Let's take a look at that performance in the Sham. He was on the lead the entire way. He opened up 4 lengths on the field, and then things got a little bit tighter than I'm sure many would have hoped for at 1-5, with his stablemate gaining ground on him late.
Well, his stablemate is a serious racehorse. You know, there's some talk that he's not training as well coming in this race. His Life is Good. We'll see what happens on the racetrack. But Medina Spirit showed in his next start how good he is. So for people to say he was disappointing, he should have won this more easily, Greg, he ran a 101 buyer in his second career start, and he beat a horse who's one of the top horses on the Triple Crown Trail.
What do you want from him?
I would say that he ran pretty darn good. It doesn't mean there are always questions to be answered. How far these horses want to go. Are they better with more distance or less question? That's why these are preps, because this is where we learn about them.
Medina Spirit out of that race, by the way. We mentioned he'd win the Robert B. Lewis. He'd do that on the lead. Baffert has said, though, he's better off the pace, and the fact that you have Life is Good in here as well, we're not going to see these two battle up front together.
It's hard to imagine you're going to see something like that. You have to think that Life is Good from the rail. He's got no choice. He's got to go. And don't you think that Dream Shake could be a little more forward coming out of a sprint?
Could be. Meanwhile, here's Medina Spirit, and this is where he was on the lead, and he outdueled Roman Centurion and a horse who ran third in here, was second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile at 94-1.
These are the kind of performances that I absolutely love. The horses that dueled with Medina Spirit got beaten a city block in this race, 2 of them. The 2 horses that were in the photo with him had just dream setups, yet Medina Spirit somehow hung on and beat them down the stretch. I mean, that is as gutsy a performance as you can possibly see. And if you go and look at a pace-adjusted performance, even though the final time wasn't that fast, it's a much better race than the final time suggests.
Here's Roman Centurion. Can he make up Not only that neck on Medina Spirit, but then he's got to deal with Life is Good as well. From that outside post, he's at 9-1. We mentioned the son of Nyquist for Doug O'Neill, the great one, coming off that devastating maiden special weight victory in what was a pretty loaded maiden special weight group.
Well, I mean, they talked about Bezos like he was this year a charlatan. It turns out he was, in fact, a charlatan. He was not quite as good as his namesake. If you turned that race on in mid-stretch, you would have said, oh, that must be Bezos that's running off from the field. And I'm excited to see a guy like Peter Urton, who did win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile a couple years ago, have a real shot in the Triple Crown Trail.
The rematch of the Baffert stablemates, Life is Good. From the rail, the heavy favorite, the 3 Medina Spirit, will try and run him down late. Here's Frank Miramati with the Grade 2 San Felipe.
And they're off. Life is Good flies out of the gate, takes command at once. Medina Spirit has some natural speed, and so does the great one on the outside of Dream Shake. Then it's Governor's Party. None Above the Law. Roman Centurions at the back, about 6 lengths off Life is Good, who sprints away. And Life is Good has opened up a 3-length lead. Medina Spirit is in second. The great one inches up outside of him. Then it's Dream Shake 3.5 off the pace. Governor's Party is on the outside of None Above the Law and Roman Centurion at the back. They head past the 5/8 pole, chasing Life is Good, who's loose up top. It's now a 4-length lead. Medina Spirit, the great one on the outside, kept in the clear. Dream Shake is at the rail, has 5 lengths to make up, coming to the half-mile pole. Then None Above the Law, followed by Roman Centurion and Governor's Party. Heading to the 3/8 pole, it's been all Life is Good, sailing along with a 3-length lead, Medina Spirit. At the rail, Dream Shake, the great one outside that pair, then a big gap to Roman Centurion. A 1/4 mile to go, and Life is Good has a 3.5-length lead. No one's coming close. Dream Shake on the inside, then Medina Spirit and the great one, top of the stretch. Life is Good, 4-length lead. Now it's 5, and it's all Life is Good. He's passing this test with flying colors. Life is Good, unbeaten and untested as he romps in the San Felipe. Wins by about 8. Medina Spirit second, Dream Shake third, Roman Centurion, and then a photo between the great one and None Above the Law. The final time, 1 minute 42.187.
Life is Good. He remains undefeated. Gate to wire score, but talk about this stretch run, Andy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not knocking a winner in any way, and this was a devastatingly good performance, 142.18 the final time, and he buried some good horses in doing it. But I have to think if you're Bob Baffert, you're very happy, obviously, with the win, and he ran 1-2 in here, but you've got to be saying, this horse needs to get a little bit more professional in his races. Is that fair? And I'm not knocking him. He is an extraordinary talent. And I think at this point, he's looking like a Derby favorite with a lot of races left to go and some good horses out there. This was dominating, but you don't love them drifting out to the 15 path or 12 path.
Yeah, not a great sign, but again, no one within a city zip code of him in here. He just opened up on this field, poured it on. Here's what Andy's talking about, though, as he drifts further and further off that rail.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's his 3rd career start. These horses, with a great trainer like Bob Baffert, you could correct these habits, and he buried the field despite drifting out like that. But you get in the Kentucky Derby against the likes of Essential Quality and some other good horses out there in all likelihood, you're going to want to have a more behaved horse.
An 8th victory in the San Felipe for Bob Baffert. Let's go to Michelle Yu.
Thanks, guys. Down here with trainer Bob Baffert, who runs 1-2 in here. Life is Good, Bob. What can you say about that performance?
Well, I was a little bit worried that second quarter he was still rolling pretty fast, but I told Mike he had permission to just go ahead and let the throttle out today and clear those pipes out because I've been going really easy with him. But he's just a magnificent specimen. He's really fast. I'm proud of my other horse running second. And he got out there by himself. I was a little bit, he was looking around, but he's still learning. And but that brilliance, it's there, and I just got to keep him healthy.
Were you surprised that no one gave you pressure early?
Nobody's that quick. There's nobody that quick.
And then the finish down here in the lane, he's getting a little bit wide, but you think part of that just greenness?
He's just a lot of greenness and stuff, because we really don't do much with him, we've been training him really light, and he's pretty fresh. I told Mike he's pretty fresh, and but, I'm just thankful. We got Windstar and China Horse Club got another good one, and my other horse ran so great.
Congratulations.
All right, thanks.
Bob Baffert, a record 8th San Felipe.
Speed is a great weapon to have, and Gary Stevens' Life is Good has a lot of it. He stretches out to a mile and a 16th. Of course, the next test, that'll be the Santa Anita Derby in 4 weeks' time at a mile and an eighth.
Yeah, what I just witnessed right now, Thing of Beauty by horse and rider Mike Smith, basically just stayed out of this horse's way today. He didn't reprimand him in any way whatsoever when he started to drift out. Bob told me yesterday morning he had cut the blinkers back on him a little bit, and this horse, he doesn't even know what he's doing yet. And I enjoy watching Mike with these young horses. This reminds me a lot of what we saw with Justify. Horse wanting to drift out a little bit. Hey, go ahead and do it, buddy. You're going to get the money today. It's not time for it right now. We'll worry about this another day, another place. But this horse is a thing of beauty, and the ride was a thing of beauty, and I liked what I saw, Greg.
He just keeps on rolling. Life is Good. Little green, but remains perfect in here. Winner's Circle lead, and it's brought to you by the Fasig-Tipton Gulfstream Sale, the nation's premier 2-year-olds in training sale, March 31st after the Florida Derby. Where will you be? Life is Good with this win. Now tied with Greatest Honor atop that Kentucky Derby leaderboard with 60 points, and he is our king for a day. It's brought to you by the talented son of Uncle Mo.
And what an appropriate name for the king for today and for this winner. Life is very good for Bob Baffert, Mike Smith, and the connections, Windstar and China Horse Club. I mean, listen, he did drift, and that's something you have to think about, but he could not have been more impressive in victory. I mean, he just buried these horses.
Dominant performance. King for a Day, by the way, stands at Irish Hill and Duchess View Stallions in New York. And we came into this show, as you look at the prices there, 1-2 in the end. $3 for the victory. His stablemate again, this time a distant second to Life is Good in Medina Spirit. But this horse, as you said, he may go. We'll see what happens in the Santa Anita Derby on April 3rd. Chance he could go to the Derby as a favorite. This is right now with a horse who's an undefeated Breeders' Cup Juvenile winner.
I don't know what the other times were like today, but I think you'd have to believe this is another triple-digit buyer. And speed figures matter. You know, it's not all buyers. There are a lot of speed figures. This is a horse who may have the 2 fastest figures going. Those are going to matter. And I'm going to say that when that Derby pool closes tomorrow, he'll be the favorite.
Bob Baffert, well stocked to try and do it again. Some comparison certainly to Authentic. Gary Stevens brought up Justify. This horse has a lot of talent. I don't know if he's that good. We'll find out as he continues along the road.
I still can't believe Bob Baffert only won 8 of these races.
Would have thought he would have had a few more. Hope you enjoyed it. It was Weyburn at 46-1 in the Gotham in a shocker. Meanwhile, a horse who was getting on dirt for the very first time out in Oldsmar, Florida, Helium for Mark Casse. He wins his 3-year-old in his dirt debut. And maybe the most impressive of them all, Life is Good, unbeaten. Perfect 3 for 3. We'll see you back tomorrow, 1:30 Eastern time on Fox Sports 2.
Spun to Run. In the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, he defeated a loaded field that included multiple Grade 1 winners Omaha Beach and Improbable. His brilliant speed figures were among the fastest of any 3-year-old at a mile or more. And he hails from the legendary Danzig sire line. Multiple graded stakes winner, millionaire, Breeders' Cup champion, Spun to Run, new for 2021, standing at Gainesway.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Smiling Tiger is now the #1 fourth crop sire in America. You heard that right. Smiling Tiger, standing at Harris Farms for a special discount of just $5,500, is the #1 fourth crop sire in America. His progeny scored 4 stakes wins in just 6 weeks, including Smiling Shirley, Grinning Tiger, and Tiger Dad. The number 1 fourth crop sire in the nation is Smiling Tiger, standing at Harris Farms for a discounted rate of just $5,500.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every